Hello.
Hello.
Thanks for having us here.
Pleasure is all mine.
This is the first time that we are interviewing a teacher from high school in Finland, and we have been discussing a lot with principals, students, and their feedback and experiences that they have, but not with a teacher so far as I remember.
Yeah.
And so, if you please introduce yourself and then what you teach at school, and a little bit about your background, and then we go through the next question.
All right. My name is Sami Kaisko. I'm a history and social studies teacher. Also teach a bit of philosophy. I'm somewhat involved in our international courses, and I'm also vice principal, and therefore I've also been with the recruiting process for finest future students here at Lauttakylä Upper Secondary School.
Okay, that's nice. So how was your experience within that interviewing process?
It was a new experience. So we have never done, at least I haven't done such thing before, and it was sort of a exciting process to actually see the students. It's also a good way to actually see something else than just a paper with names and grades and so on. So it's very useful experience, and it worked quite well. We had good connections, and students were there on time, and we get the process done very conveniently.
So how was the interview? It was like a video interview?
Yes, it was video interview via Microsoft Teams, I believe.
Did you have also like a test, online test or something?
Sorry,
online test or like exam or something?
No, we had pre-prepared some questions for students. We just wanted to test their sort of language skills, how they could respond some questions, and sort of their Finnish skills. Very simple questions, of course, because they don't have that much Finnish studies yet on their background. So we wanted to mainly see what they are, how they respond, and what are their sort of skills in sort of questions they may not have been prepared or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. So it was not that much known before the interview.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So that's I think it was a surprise for them.
Yeah, sort of not anything that, not like bullying, but sort of to see actually do they have grasp for basic Finnish words that we could ask them very slowly and so on.
So a part of the main requirements that you are putting them like there for the opintopolku that they can have when they are applying. So what are the other expectations and the level that you want them to be?
I think that their competence in different subjects is in very good level generally. I think the main question is about Finnish language, because it is a bit more difficult than, for example, maybe English or something like that. They come from countries that have languages that do not have that much common in, for example, Finnish language. And I think the language is the key here. If they can usually perform very well in subjects like maths or something like that. But for example, if I teach history, it has very specialized vocabulary and large masses of text in Finnish. So that's the sort of thing that they would need to focus to get the Finnish language sort of good or adequate level as soon as possible.
Okay. And when you say history, is it like Finnish history, or you talk about other also?
It's both. It's mainly Finnish and European history. History from perspective of Europe. And it combines both Finnish and sort of international history in the perspective of European.
Okay. They study like ancient Roma.
From ancient Rome to Second World War and everything between.
Okay. So they will. I mean, this is like would help them in the future when they're going to be like a Finnish citizen for the integration exam that they will take for this.
Yeah. It's so it's like that. Yeah.
Okay, good. So how was so far? Is like how many months? 5 months you are with them, or did you have international students like with Finest Future from last year?
This is the first year. The last autumn we had our first Finest Future students. So soon we have had sort of one academic year with them.
Yeah, it will end in.
It ends in the beginning of June.
Beginning of June. Yeah. Okay. So how was your experience so far? What?
It has been. We have had around 10 people, and I think the experience has been wonderful. It's nice to have international atmosphere in our school, and of course it has we have almost all of us have had to done some extra work, translate things in English, because we understand that if someone comes here in upper secondary studies with, let's say, 6 months of Finnish studies before, they cannot, for example, take part in history lesson that I'm just speaking in Finnish. It's very hard to them. I sort of feel certain sympathy for them because they are in different country, different culture, and they have to listen very different language which they do not probably understand much at the beginning. But it has been great to see their sort of advancement during this 1 year, how they have learned, how they have gotten better, and I am very pleased and also sort of surprised their motivation. They really want to learn. They really sort of work with the language, and they generally try to sort of improve themselves in language and in many levels. So their motivation is very high, and it also affects the teacher. It's nicer to teach students that actually want to learn.
Okay, that's good. That's good. So, what do you think? I mean, how is the learning skill? Are they like fast learner or?
I think it depends on the person. They have every person is a different learner, and some people learn quicker. For example, math. Some are better in languages, of course, but generally I think they are fast learners.
Okay,
yeah,
that's good.
Indeed. And I think that's part of mainly because of they have their own, of course, skills, but they have their motivation, which is main factor when you are actually learning something.
And I just wanted to dive a bit deeper there. Between the relation of student and teacher, because mostly in our countries is like, teacher is like a person teaches and then leave, and then so it's like that, not that much communication with the students, or students are not encouraged that much to ask a lot of questions. So maybe you like open it a bit more in Finland. How does it look like?
It seems and it sounds what I have heard about our finest future students and also other people in different education systems, that we have quite close relations, sort of uncomplicated relations between teachers and students, and we encourage them to speak to us. I think it even is emphasized in small upper secondary schools like ours, because we know our students. They are not sort of mass which we teach and then leave. We want to talk to them. We are glad if they are willing to talk to us and sort of act sort of freely, and sort of they can express their feelings, their thoughts to us, and we like to listen to them. And I think this has been probably a sort of a shock for many students coming here, that teacher actually wants to hear about them and talks to them. And in Finnish system there are, of course, teachers are teachers. We are the ones who set the rules. In the last rules come from us, but it doesn't mean that we wouldn't like to listen to students and to sort of have very open communication between students, because that's how, for example, the whole Finnish system works. In generally, we do not usually use so much titles, and for example, teachers are usually called their first name or something like that, and even that has been sort of a huge step to take for some students in the beginning. But there is also, you need to understand in the system that even though the relations between teachers and students are very open, the teacher is still the one with authority. And it hasn't happened in our school, but I have heard stories that when students get that much freedom suddenly that much freedom, they will sort of misuse it.
So even like happen to Finnish students if they have this kind of freedom?
I think they have grown in the system from the beginning of their school path, so it's sort of they sort of know it and they understand the rules, which are sometimes, like any cultural rules, they can be very hard to sort of take on if you haven't grown to them. But yeah.
So it's like that reminds me, like, do you have this experience? I mean, students at the class, they raise hand to ask question or talk?
Yeah. Usually they do that.
Okay. So if suddenly they start talking, is it like something rude or impolite at school? at class?
No, usually it's not. Of course,
Depends on the discussion, of course.
Yeah. Usually, at least when you go to the lower secondary school, it might be a different world. The students are there are a bit different. They are a bit younger. They are in their teens. They are much more unruly. But in upper secondary school, of course, they can sometimes say something to their friends. But usually, if they talk something, it's not something rude or impolite or something like that. I think the main problem in Finnish upper secondary schools is that students are even too quiet. They are sort of stay there and they don't answer. We teachers would like them more to actually say something, raise their hand and comment on what I have just said.
Don't be just a listener.
Yeah, say something.
Yeah. And then if in that occasion, if they want to go to do something or drink something or go to toilet, it's do they need to get the permission?
Yes, usually they just say that, can I go to the toilet? So we don't have any. If they want to bring something to eat on class, it's allowed. They don't have to ask that permission for that. If they have a bottle of something to drink or some bread to eat, it's okay. As long as they are sort of active, they listen, they do their works, it's okay for us if they want to eat something.
Yeah, so their main purpose is to get and be comfortable.
Yeah, be comfortable and actually listen and do things and take part of the lesson. As long as that happens, it doesn't matter if they want to eat something or something.
And then so we have to be sure that doesn't mean if you want to eat something or have your stuff, you shouldn't be annoying. So it's some level of balance.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
They have to,
and that they are not they are not sort of taking easy or having nice time. They are learning, but if it helps them and if they are hungry, of course, eat something and drink something and then focus better.
Focus. Yeah, that's always helping them.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Going back to the teacher is ruling out the rules actually. So it's the person who is authorized to control the class.
Yeah.
And this is maybe I'm asking to give it to make this is correct or not. I know that this is the regulations and rules are not coming from ministry, are coming from school and the teachers.
Yes.
So that's correct.
Yeah, that's mainly. Of course, there are some very, very rudimentary level legislation, something like a student has to follow the rules.
Like
very general rudimentary legislation, but usually the teacher and the school sets the rules what to do. But of course, those rules have to comply with, for example, Finnish laws and constitution and so on.
Yeah. So would that be one of the main key or elements or factor that makes the Finnish education system the best in the world?
Well, according to PISA studies, it's not the best anymore, but it's still. I think it's still pretty good, and I think the freedom given to teachers it's about trust. And I am very pleased that I'm trusted, that I know what I do. I can sort of do things on my own way as long as students get good results and they learn things. And I think that we are not constantly sort of monitored, followed, and not every single little bit of thing what we should do is given to us, but it is left for us to decide. I personally find that very motivating to do this job, and I'm pretty sure that most of my colleagues would agree with that.
Okay, that's good. And then to be a teacher, you need to have at least a master degree. Yeah,
master. Every Finnish teacher that is sort of qualified teacher in an upper secondary school must have a master's degree in the subject that he or she is teaching.
Okay, that's good. What would be the most important advice to these international students who are coming to this system to study at high schools in Finland?
I think that most important from my viewpoint would be that don't be discouraged or afraid in the beginning if it feels hard because of the language or because of the new environment. Be active by yourself, make friends with Finns. We Finns tend to be a bit shy and for example, if I think a typical Iranian, we are much sort of quieter and a bit more inwards turned, but if you are active, you speak to us, we will of course speak to you and you will be accepted in the group and be integrated into our society. Just reserve for the beginning, which is maybe hard, and be active with yourself. That takes you very far in Finland.
Okay, that's really good.
Yeah.
And anything maybe you want to add if what I haven't asked?
You haven't asked loads of questions. At this point, I have nothing to add. I think all your points that you made and questions you asked are very important, both for teachers, for the Finest Future program, and of course for the students coming here.
That's really good. And I want to end up with this discussion that, I mean, about the feeling that you as a teacher said that I feel good that I've been trusted. In Islam, they are saying that, okay, being a teacher is the profession of prophets. So it means that you are that kind of trusted person to be a teacher and educator.
Things you say have very much emphasis. It means something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And this is the real thing that I'm hearing, that you have the feeling. So this is much, I mean, in real work that I can see that you have this feeling. And I'm really happy that helping other international students to come and use this opportunity.
It's good to hear that.
Yeah. Thanks again.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.